Alrighty, here we are once again. It is Final Fantasy VI Speedrun, Kappa %. We're going to be on part 5 now. We've got Setzer. We need to get him equipped and ready for the upcoming situation. Let me feed that for now. Triangle, sprint shoes already on him. Okay. So, since he's already got those, we'll give her $10. So now it's time to enter Daryl's tomb and get ourselves the airship back. This is a small dungeon with a lot of nasties in it. If you want to grind out, it's a good place for grinding, but not even I'm going to do any grinding, largely because of Dullahan and his ability Level Pearl. Level Pearl, these have some great monsters in them though, in their look and their sound. Osteosaur, really? He has osteoporosis or something? You have, Dullahan has an ability called Level Pearl, that the question mark is equal to the last digit of your money for some reason, and if any of your characters have a level that is in that range, you know, a multiple of that number, so I have 4, so if any of my characters have a level that's multiple of 4, they'll get hit by his Pearl spell at the very start of the fight, and that is not good. Those kinds of level things generally always hit if they actually latch on. The only thing you have is, I'm just grabbing that for the heck of it, I don't need it. I also skipped the experience egg here, because I don't need that. There's quite a few things that can be done or need to be done. The experience egg is a pretty awesome item, of course, but I've already got 3 of them, and I won't really need any more because I'm only going to be doing a little bit of grinding for experience. And just the bare minimum needed to get me up to about level 31. Normally I like to grind to 35 or even 40-ish, but I don't need to grind that much, so I might as well save a bit of time. I mean, that's the name of the game after all. There's a lot of things that I do that are not the most efficient for speedrunning, even though I have this ultimate setup with these easy hacks and everything. But I'm still kind of learning that and everything, adjusting my mindset, so whatever. Okay, all these warp stones I have let me run away. There are a few more places only that I'm going to be fighting, but before I'm done with today's session, I'll be completely done with grinding with basically with random encounters in general. You know, with a couple of splitting hairs exceptions, but as we learned in South Figaro, you can hop on the turtle. All these switches are necessary. There's a few that aren't. For instance, there's a word puzzle that tells you where the experience egg is. You have to enter in things, the world is square, but you don't actually have to enter it all in order to get the thing. I'm going to pick up the man-eater here for selling. I don't need the dragon claw in that chest because I already have tiger fangs for Sabin. And we're just about done with the dungeon. Even so, it's a tomb and there's a whole lot of nasty monsters in this small tomb. Daryl sleeps here, although apparently she was never found, so we don't know if she really sleeps here. What sleeps here instead is Dullahan, who is of course super nasty. Here's the level Pearl, but because my digit is 4 and my levels are 25, none of it will hit. Now we're going to X-Magic Ultima, because that's how you win from now on, at least with my gaming. Bismarck is a water elemental attack. I'm not sure how water works on him, I'm just doing it to do something. Enough. He actually has a decent amount of hit points, as you saw there. And so even with Sabin, this is normally a kind of nasty fight. Maduin doesn't really seem to do a whole lot of damage. I think it's actually a lot like Ultima itself, that its damage is more based on your level than magic power. Because even though my magic power is absurd, I'm not doing nearly as much damage as you think I would do with spells like that. It might be the case with non-elemental spells in general. Yes, Gerald sleeps here. And okay, now we're into this portion, and now we'll start to see a flashback of Daryl. It's kind of interesting that this is kind of the weird thing about Final Fantasy VI is these airships, because usually the airship has a significant designer and it makes its mark, and you know, it's just a plot device here, but it's usually a much more significant portion of the backstory. In Final Fantasy IV, of course, the invention of the airship is what causes Baron to start becoming a superpower and leads to everything, and so you have Cid, who designed the airships. Cid designed the airship in Final Fantasy VII as well, and he designed several things that Shinra wants in order to defeat Sephiroth, and keeps coming back to that. And of course, in Final Fantasy V, Cid and Mid do so much, usually a Cid involved with the airships, do so much to with them. But here, you know, Setzer owns the airship, but where on earth did it come from otherwise? Who built it? There's no explanation of that. It's just he's a super rich guy and he has an airship, and he also happens to have, his girlfriend happens to have the only other airship in the world. Where on earth did this come from? Never explains it. It might be that he designed it himself, and that might be somehow the way he got his riches as well, although since he doesn't mass produce them, that doesn't seem to make sense. But he is able at least to build and repair airships, we know. He says that, he tells us here that after he found the wreck of the airship but no Daryl, he restored the Falcon and set it underground here, where we're digging it up underneath her tomb. So he definitely knows the way around it. Whether he built them or not, we just don't know. Not that it really matters. It's the airship. It's just one of those little things I think of. The actual, especially compared to Final Fantasy V, which came before, you really don't have a whole lot of vehicles in this game. There's no black chocobos. There's a few chocobo rides. There's the Figaro Castle that burrows underground. And then there's the airship, and that's it. And the airship it's technically the same airship. It's simply the world that actually causes its graphics, and if you use certain glitches in the game to switch between World of Balance and World of Ruin without actually going through the process, the airship will always be in the same location, but its features will change based on which world you're in, so it's kind of interesting. So anyway, very unrealistic way it comes out of the water there as well, but who cares? This is Final Fantasy steampunk technology. It's awesome. Now we get Silas' second bird hunch. First it was the seagull in the bandana. Now it's the bird that's flying away to Miranda. She decides to follow it because she recalls, even though we never did anything with it, actually, in our game, that pigeons, they're carrier pigeons that bring letters to and from Miranda and Mobliz. Oh, now I have control of the airship again after all magnifies here. I'm going to use something else, so I'm not going to go into Miranda yet. I'm going to do a bunch of other things first, and the first thing I'm going to do is actually grind. And grinding is a pain in a lot of Final Fantasy, especially in Speedrun. It makes things less interesting, but in most particular, I'm going to do Condomizer on him as well, so it'll be easy later. Going to do XP Egg. We're going to switch Sentia to Frank. So once again, the person on bottom usually gets their turn first, especially in a surprise attack, so I want Sentia to be able to just pop off Ultimas quickly. Until Cid is going to learn Ultima real quick here, and then he'll be able to do the same thing. With Ultima, I can do this really easily. Since they all have experience eggs, I get experience quickly, and I don't need to get too high. I just want to get into about level 31, so I'll be safe for several levels from spells like level 5 Doom. I'll have a decent amount of stats and power. My stats are already great, so I don't, so the levels are not as necessary. It's just a nice little safety bit. Now, normally, since these two characters don't need a whole lot of experience themselves, you would just level up Silas instead, since in a glitchless run, she's one of your main powerhouses, and it's easy to level her up. You give her the one experience egg you found, then you you kill off the other two, you give her Vanish so that she's mostly immune to their attacks, and then just have her go at it with rods to kill these things easily. But since I can just use Ultima, and also because we all have experience eggs, we can all gain experience quickly, and the reason I'm doing that is not so much for these characters as it is for the ones coming. Because as we mentioned before, characters, and the reason we want to grind here is because characters that join in the future join as a based on the average party level you've got. So by just leveling Essentia, I could level, Essentia Celis super quickly, but it would only level her, and it wouldn't raise the levels of the rest of the party as much. But by leveling all three at once with experience eggs, the rest of the party will be joining, except for Gao, at level 31 plus. So they'll all be around the level where they'll be useful in the final battle and won't be instantly killed. And that's the main reason I'm doing this. Usually I like to go up to a higher level, like 35 or 40 or something, but it's not really necessary here. So especially since I'm, posting this for view, I don't want to waste a lot of time grinding, so we'll do a little bit, get up to about level 31, and then we'll go. And if you do grinding, you want to do it early on, and if you want to grind other characters, you need to make sure you pick them up among the first characters, because the more characters you have, of course, the harder it is to level them all, because this changes your average party level, and then you have so many that you need to level. But by gaining, essentially by giving this party 6 levels right now, I'm giving all 14 6 levels at once. The ideal would be even to have Essentia level up all by herself before she picks up Edgar, but that's really hard to do, because the things she fights don't give a whole lot of experience, and even with Ultima, the reward risk just isn't there. These things give a heck of a lot more experience than those do, even all on there, even if I've split it between 3 party members. So, this is one of the best grinding spots in the game, both for money and experience. So, down south in the desert is a place where you want to grind magic points on Hoovers, which give 5, and especially Cactrots, which give 10. But I don't really need spells all that much, so I'm not worrying about that so much. Now that I've got, more or less, that's kind of wrong, because there are a few things, now that I've got Ultima, for the most part I don't need magic points. I will need it in order to defeat the Magimaster later on. But the magic points that I need for that, I'm going to be grinding mostly through the forced battles I'll be in. Here's level 30. I'm going to grind one more level for safety. Not safety of level so much as if I encounter Doomgaze and he does level 5 Doom, nobody's going to die. That's the main point. You're not going to have anybody in the level 35 range. We'll all be safe. Now, from here on out, my route's going to be a little bit different than a normal speedrun of any sort. There we are. And Sid just happened to pick up Ultima as well, which is handy. First, we're going to go to Narsh, which is usually we want to pick up Mog. And this time I'm going to make my way through Narsh the correct way, as opposed to before when I messed up badly. Now I'm not allowed to mess up anymore. I forgot to put on sprint shoes. Not going to need the gem box for a bit, but I'll equip them anyway since I'm doing this. Oh, I need to do a charm bagel though too. Not super necessary, but it does help out. Should have used some rods on Doulahan. Yeah. Interestingly, this part where I'm going to is a really pointless place to go. But you can go here during the World of Balance, and if you do it before you have the opportunity to recruit Mog, you'll find all the moogles that helped out lock in battle in this little cave where I'm heading. So you can talk to them all and they say Kupo, and that's pretty much it. Except for one that says Kupo, Kupo, and that's the one who's in the position Mog is in now. We learned from a pickpocket, though, that there's only one moogle left. That's Mog, and he's the most awesome moogle and the one we want. So we're going to go get him. So here we are, warping out. This maze doesn't work anymore. All these monsters, pretty much everything at this point in the game is worth fighting if you want to fight it, but, you know, if you're on a casual run, continually grinding is not a bad idea, so you can be as powerful as possible when you fight Kappa, but on a speedrun, of course, we want to avoid fights. I'm, for the most part, done fighting, which is one of the reasons why I'm grabbing Mog now. Even I had my fill of grinding in this entire game, so... I have just enough warp stones left to do my warping out and collecting the monsters I want. Here's the maze where we saved Terra. If I wanted to be a slightly more efficient, I'd go ahead and equip the Charm Bangle and probably the Gale Hairpin in the back guard, but I don't need to worry about random encounters ever again. The only random encounters I get are going to be 2 that I force just because I want, well, actually, they're specifically to get specific characters. But otherwise, even in places where I have 2 or 3 parties, I am not going to have to worry about any encounters. I have picked up my moogle. I am going to call him M. Blanc. M. Blanc from Mont Blanc, who's the, which means White Mountain in French, oddly. But Mont Blanc is the moogle companion you have in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. So, Mog is pretty basic. Even though I just call him Mount Block, it says Mog. So we're not going to get the Sasquatch for a little bit yet. We'll come back here later to pick up the Yeti. And we don't need to pick up the Moogle Charm either, because I still have a Moogle Charm from... I'm not going to need anything on him anymore, really. Well, a little bit. Just in case. He may need it. He's already well equipped. Snow Muffler, best armor in the game. I'm going to give him Moogle Charm and Sprint Shoes. And now we're going to go to Mobliz. To pick up Terra. Normally you wait a long time to pick up Terra, but I'm going to pick her up immediately because she's one of the most important party members to me. And the next one I really want to pick up is Go-Go, but I really want to do Go-Go with only a single party member, and right now I can't change parties because I only have 4 members. You need a 5th one on the airship to talk to change party members. Always grab elixirs from clocks, very good. And here we find that Mobliz, ever since the World of Ruin came about, after the fall of the world when Kefka gained the power of the statues and destroyed the world, he's now built his tower in the middle of the place and is raining this destruction called the Light of Judgment all over the land. And as Terra and the kids explain to us here, the parents in Mobliz sacrifice themselves to save their kids, sort of. It's not very well presented in this 16-bit graphic format. It seems like they all ran outside and said, "Take us instead, we'll jump into the hole, just leave our kids alone." Something, I don't know. Anyway, they sacrifice themselves to save their kids, so only kids are left. The oldest are Dwayne and Catherine, who are technically married, I guess, sort of, and expecting a kid, and they're just 17 now. Yeah, we're not sure how exactly they protect the kids by it's heading this way. I mean, they ran out this direction. If they hadn't come this way, this wouldn't have happened to them in the first place. Very, very badly presented. One of the worst scenes in the game, in my opinion. Bible thump for the parents, but still, that was pretty bad. Anyway, Terra has arrived, and she's lost her fighting edge, she feels. She doesn't have it in her anymore to fight, and so she doesn't want to join us. And most especially, you know, they all depend on her. Even these 17-year-olds who are otherwise leading the troop, Dwayne and Catherine, get pretty nasty about it. Dwayne does. Catherine's a nice girl, but Dwayne has issues, and he's he's feeling the pressure of the fact that, you know, it's his girlfriend, his wife, is pregnant, and you find this out by talking to everybody. Mobliz is a very interesting place on a casual run if you talk to everyone because of so many things you can do. As I've mentioned before, you can get a Tintinabar relic by playing, you know, a Good Samaritan for the wounded soldier who's trying to write letters back to his girlfriend in Miranda and send her a bunch of stuff. Tintinabar, of course, can be traded in for another experience egg, so it's very possible to get multiple experience eggs. I just have it really simply with my hacks. That's not something that's overpowered. Just a little bit quickened. Anyway, Terra, even though she has Ultima and is super powerful, she's useless in this fight because Funbaba is invincible, plus she has no equipment. So I can just kill her off instantly because that's how you finish that battle. There's no way to win. Funbaba literally takes 0 damage from anything. I mean, maybe if I had Vanished Doom and wanted to use it, but it wouldn't matter. It's much quicker just to kill her off and be done. Now this is a much more even fight. One Ultima will send Funbaba scurrying. When he comes back, he'll suddenly have a heck of a lot more hit points, which is going to be very soon. You're supposed to come at this point in the game earlier, I believe, even with Celis alone, possibly. That's one of the reasons why the first Funbaba is so weak, and then you're supposed to later get the airship and come back and say, hey, look, we have the airship. See, it's worth... Maybe you'd change your mind. You said you might. But, right, we don't actually have to go anywhere or do any events to trigger it. There's only one place we need to walk on, and it's inside of town, so we won't even have to leave the town. We're gonna do that now. I don't really need much of anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and equip a thing anyway. If you walk on the tile right where the dog first greets you when you enter the plane, that pretty much triggers the next portion of this. And normally you're supposed to wander around and find out that Dwayne's looking for Katarine because she's gone missing because he was being mean to her, but we're just going to come down into here and start the next event. And there's all this drama, teenage parent drama. But we really don't care that much about that. It's kind of a couple of sort of intermingled plot threads here, minor plot threads of development. It's mostly about Terra, but Dwayne and Katarine don't matter that much, but they're kind of throwing interesting light on this situation. That's one of the reasons Dwayne depends on Terra so much, because if Terra's gone, then he has to be the responsible adult leading everybody, and he's just not ready for that. He's not ready to have a kid, but things happen. A subtle shout out to avoid underage, parenthood and everything else, possibly something like that. Nice that we got that. Let's see if some chocobos do any good. Do some wind song. 3,000 damage birds. Messed up. H-bomb's a little harder to get. There we go. Who are we getting rid of? Edgar and that's kind of annoying. And now Tina's going to show up. Suddenly she remembered that she has equipment she can equip. Before, she doesn't start with any equipment. This time she'll be optimized just like Edgar was for his battle. But she doesn't get any relics, which is kind of a pain. So we're going to double Ultima. I guess I'll Ultima with her. I hate spending so much mana, though. I'm concerned about mana when I normally cast one. He responds with Bolt 2. We're going to blast him again. Much harder fight this time. Most of the things in the game now will have 30 to 50,000 hit points. He doesn't get much in the way of rewards either now. Yeah, no reward at all. And now we have this additional drama. Terra came to help, and she went Esper, and of course she looks like a naked pink troll doll, or a pink hedgehog, or a Super Saiyan creature thing, you know, whatever you call her. She doesn't look normal, and the kids, of course, are scared of her. Hardly surprising. And we have to wait for this drama, but finally one of the kids, a little Cindy Lou Who girl, kind of girl, recognizes her and says, "Come on. Mama, it is you, isn't it?" Takes so long to get to this point. But it's touching. Yes, it's touching. These poor kids depend on Terra so much, but if she really wants to take care of them, she needs to help us beat Kefka, bring peace to the world. Otherwise, they'll always be in danger of monsters and the light of judgment and all the rest. Now she's figured out she can fight. She's going to join the party. Fortunately, Mog got kicked out, so that's going to waste a little bit of time menuing. I'll return when your future's guaranteed. It's kind of neat that Terra, if you don't have her in the party when you finish, she will zoom away and come over to join you on leading you out and be in the credits that way, but it's definitely better that she, you know, has a bit of understanding with the kids before she just suddenly turns into an Esper and takes off. Anywho, it's a short session, but I have things to take care of, so I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. I've been trying a few things and messing up, and things aren't going well, so we'll do a very short session here, and we will continue on again later on. Hopefully pretty soon. Till next time.